The normal background. But hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Jeff DeVerter, and I am here to introduce you to yet another Cloud Talk Live. Huge call out to Megan, who pulled that nifty new graphic together. Everyone, welcome. My name is Jeff DeVerter. I'm the Chief Technology Evangelist for us here at Rackspace Technology, and I'm excited to get to introduce you and welcome you to the program. So you know the rules. I'm obviously on the road again, and I don't have my fancy things coming up. So you follow the rules. You remember, introduce yourself. Tell me who you are. Tell us where you are. It makes it more fun. This is a global audience, and it's great to see where everyone is coming in from. So introduce yourselves. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can always do that. You can find me on LinkedIn, but maybe even easier is to send an email. Oh, first person in from Lagos, Nigeria. I had to stop and call that out. That's really cool. But send an email over to solve@Rackspace. It's just that easy. Solve. It's our thought leadership program here at Rackspace that I get to spend a goodly amount of my time helping to curate a lot of the content, create some of this video content that we have right here. Oh, look, everybody's starting to show up. Egypt is here. India is here. Who else? Where else? North Carolina. I love North Carolina. David, welcome. Glad that you are here. Houston. Michael, always from Houston. I might be there in September. We'll see how that works out. Or early October. I don't remember when, but maybe. I'll let you know. We should get coffee. Everyone, this is going to be a great show. It feels like the month of August is all things that lead up to, well, whose favorite conference? My favorite conference. It's called Google Next. And my guest today is Rebecca Potts, and I can't wait for you to get to meet her and some of the amazing things that she's done we get to talk about today. But I also want to call out Dallas. We've got India. We've got... I saw a really, Nashville's here. I love that. Nashville, Tennessee. I was just there over the weekend. I had to take my son back to Belmont. Everybody know Belmont? You should. It's a great university. Delhi's here. Arizona's here. Fantastic. Everyone, keep introducing yourselves. Look at your names all up on the screen. I love it when Daniel does that. Well, Daniel, enough of this intro stuff. I can't wait to get started with my conversation with Rebecca. So let's bring Rebecca up live from Austin, Texas. Right, Rebecca?
Absolutely. I feel right at home with all the folks calling in from Texas. So thanks for having me on today, Jeff.
I'm so glad that you're here, Rebecca. Thank you for taking time and, doing the extra things even when the house is under construction.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. This is
well. This is just how it is these days. Well, I'm not even home. I'm here at an event for our channel team. I'm suffering for the company here in Park City, Utah, but it's a beautiful scene outside. Had to set up the camera so we could get to see that. So, but again, thanks for being here. I know you've taken a significant amount of time out of your day, not only to do our prep sessions, but then to come to be a part of this. So we really do appreciate it, and of course, the partnership that we have here at Rackspace with Google.
It's really my pleasure. So again, I appreciate you reaching out and asking for me to participate. So I really look forward to talking with you and the rest of the audience today.
Yeah, guys, if you have questions as we get into the conversation, you know how to do it. Look at how I've just taught you how to respond, and you have questions, we'll see them, we'll answer them, at least most of them. All right, well, Rebecca, you're no stranger to the IT world. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got where you are and what you're doing these days?
Sure, absolutely. So I started my career as a technology implementation consultant. I did that for about 13 years. And what was so cool about that is as a young professional, I was able to really understand how different businesses work and also, what good looks like. So being able to visit, with different companies, some are run very well and some are run, frankly, not as well. And so it was a great foundation for me. I moved to SAP in 2007, where I ran both software sales teams and services sales teams, and learned really a lot about outcome-based selling, and also that's really when cloud was making a big splash in the market, and SAP was buying Ariba and SuccessFactors. So between the conversion, shall we say, of cloud and on-prem, I was lucky enough to be part of that. I've been with Google for the last 3 years. Joined as part of the sales team, direct sales team, and for the last year have been running the the solutions partner team within the partner organization. So that's a little bit about me.
That's the bird's eye view of a whole lot of stuff inside of there. It's interesting how you've been able to, from the outside and now on the inside, really observe a lot of what is happening around this whole moving the stuffs to the cloud. And I love that you started in the direct sales space and now are on the partner side. But as director of the the solutions for partners and team, what does that mean to somebody who doesn't live that every single day?
Yeah, so what my organization does is we're really the connection between the product and go-to-market team here at Google and our partner ecosystem. And so I have folks on my team who get up every day who are thinking specifically about data and analytics from a Google standpoint, or security, or infrastructure modernization. And we know that within our partner ecosystem, that you all have folks who are also getting up every day and thinking about those topics. Yeah. So it's really about making the connections between our team and the partner ecosystem to ensure that that we're winning the hearts and minds of our partners, and they put Google first.
Well, and partners come in a lot of different shapes and sizes and how they enable things. You got some partners who are building solutions that then they resell on top of your capabilities, and then those like a Rackspace or other solution partners who are going to take the tool sets that you guys create and help make that a reality in implementation for our customers, specifically our joint customers. But in your role, what's a day-to-day like with these different types of partners, these different types of things, and just getting the Google name out there?
Well, so you've actually nailed it. The fact that there's no day looks exactly the same because of what you've just mentioned. We do have obviously ISV partners and GSI partners and MSPs, and so each one of those partners really requires a different lens from Google, and that's what's fun about my job. So ultimately, what we're building is differentiated capabilities. We're always trying to answer the question, what makes Google different, of course, and then what makes you as Rackspace different. We call it the trifecta, right? Like what's the Google, the customer, and the partner? What's that trifecta that drives differentiation and obviously solves the customer's business problems? Right.
I really like the way you think about that from a trifecta point of view, because it really does, it has the equal focus on all of the things to make a customer ultimately be successful in their ability to utilize the tooling. We chatted a bunch about what are we going to talk about when we do our live stream, and it was somebody who works at a company with has so much great tooling and capabilities. What's your favorite thing, a tool that you use inside of Google? What's your favorite Google service? Sounds like a strange question.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, hey, in terms of what we use inside Google, we definitely eat our own dog food. I would say Workspace is something that I'm in, every hour and every day. And what I love about Workspace is we've obviously all been heard about this little thing called generative AI.
I think it's going to stick. I think it's a thing.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I love the fact that that the Gen AI capability has been integrated into Workspace. So when I go to write an email, I work on a spreadsheet that I've got the capability right there. So makes for a lot of internal efficiency.
That's awesome. We were chatting, when we think about that trifecta, and you've got Google, you've got you guys, you've got partnerships, and you got customers. But why do partnerships matter so much? Why engage us? Why not just focus directly with customers?
Well, listen, Google's primary focus is we are a technology provider. Yes, we are a solution provider, but there's no way that we could go to market and service all of our customers without the help of our partners. We really see that that our partners are there to drive, to create and drive solutions. Many of our partners, of course, including Rackspace, have many different ideas and thoughts and concepts about how to use Google technology effectively. So that's something that we're always learning from our partners, and again, that's what makes things really interesting as we think about the go-to-market with the Google technology. There's so many great ideas and customer problems to solve, and we certainly need our partners to do that.
Yeah, so I think a lot about, with providers like you guys who create such amazing tools. It's like you create the best box of Lego parts that you've assembled some of them and said, here's workspaces, or here's this other out of the box thing. But you could also take it apart and use the core elements really to build whatever you want to build. And that's actually what we did. Not long ago when we launched our generative AI offering in and around, we call it FAIR, the Foundry for AI at Rackspace. That's what it is. I memorized that. And so the partnership that we've had has been super important for us.
Yeah, well, and likewise. I mean, listen, when we launched Gen AI earlier this spring, the idea of selecting a list of what we called launch partners at the time, you can't launch with every single partner on day one, right?
Right.
So who do we work with in the near term to really to put together offerings that make sense for our customers, so that our customers can get their arms around, what does Gen AI mean, number one, and then what does it mean for me? What are some of the use cases and so on? So we really appreciate the fact that Rackspace was one of our very early launch partners, and you developed this program where you've done exactly that. You've got the offering that says, hey, let's spend, a week or two or a day or two thinking about your use cases, and then let's make sure that that we take that business context and turn it into reality, and not only a reality, but a use case or a business case where there's a return on investment for the customers.
Yeah, the way the team, and I wish I could take credit for it personally, but I can't. But the way the team pulled it together, I thought was amazing. A three-step thing. I love things in threes. Ideate, incubate, and industrialize. Ideate is just what you're saying. It's let's sit down and have a conversation about what does your business do, where are the challenges, where are the opportunities, and then start to look at our smart data people and our smart AI people to plug that together. But I want to go back real quick. When you say you make a phrase, and I don't want it to go unnoticed, where you say, when we launched our AI practice earlier this year, when from a Google point of view, it's important that everybody also realize you just didn't come up with AI at that point. I mean, you guys have been deep in AI for, I want to say decades, but for at least a good long time. And you're one of those companies that can go back also and honestly say that, I don't know, how many, 8 or 9 or 10 service offerings that you have, over 1 billion users a day. You don't do that with a host of people. I mean, you guys have had AI at the core of what you've been doing for a really long time to be able to service this many people on your platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so we just to be super clear, we launched our generative AI platform in the spring, right? But Google's really, our foundation really is AI. If you think about the fact that we started as a search, Google search, and that really is, I'll say, AI and ML at its core. And then just as you have mentioned, we've been training those data models for years, have taken the path of inserting those learnings and those models into all of our products, including our workspace model, products which I mentioned earlier. So the fact that now, we then went and developed our Vertex platform, which I think is really cool, and really, I'll say, the foundation for the future. When we think about where customers are today, and the fact that this whole AI thing, it's really a journey. You've got to have your data, foundation in place, your data models in place, and our Vertex AI platform is really a place where you can because it's open source, you can use multiple tools from multiple places to pull everything all together, and then effectively and eventually get to a point where you're able to do and perform the Gen AI tasks, if you will, or
right.
Or
ask a question, get an answer.
Yeah, and get a great answer.
Yes, exactly. Go bar to go. So that's the tooling behind the scenes and from the large language model perspective. But what are some great use cases? Which ones? Where do you gravitate to when folks say, well, how is it being used? What do you like to tell them?
Well, I've really got two answers for that. One is
Okay.
from a professional standpoint, and one's from a personal standpoint. So, from a professional standpoint, I love the fact that because as I'll say retailers or manufacturers, the number one thing that is so important is customer feedback,
Yeah.
and the fact that now we can pull data from social media as well as multiple other sources and get real time insight into what customers are saying about our products.
Yeah.
That is super powerful, right? And the fact that as a salesperson now, if I work for one of these retailers or one of these one manufacturers, I could very quickly, sitting in the parking lot before I go into a customer meeting, say, hey, what's this customer saying about this particular product, or what in general is the sentiment about this product? Or if I'm a product development engineer, I can keep tabs on a very regular and live basis on what folks are saying about our products. And so I love the transparency of it, and the fact that we don't have to sift through lots of worksheets and data sheets anymore. So I think that's really tremendous and transformational. Will be
Yeah.
transformational.
It's one of my favorite use cases. The fact that you can point that engine at that pile of data, and you used to say things like find the needle in the haystack. Now we're saying find the needle in the pile of needles and be able to get the information you need when you need it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And and here's the other thing that that I think is really may resonate with you, Jeff. We all have mother-in-laws who are provide interesting perspectives in our lives, and
Well said. Well said.
so mine was asking a couple of months ago where we should go on vacation that might entertain a 91-year-old, my 91-year-old father-in-law, and my twin 13-year-old boys. So where should we go? What should we do? What does that look like? And so usually she asked me all those questions, and I
Yeah.
thought, oh, I am going to go to Bard and see what Bard says. So
Oh,
long story short, we are now booked at an all-inclusive in Mexico over Thanksgiving. Problem solved. Thank you, Bard. It was great.
it you know. And I always ask people the question when we're having AI conversations like these, is I'll say, well, how are you personally using it? Because we'll talk about it, some cases, if it's a very technical person, we're down in the weeds, but in how they're building solutions, or a leader like yourself. But I love it when people pull it back and what is the individual use case? How is it making your day better? And that's a good one when you can amuse 13-year-olds and 91-year-olds.
Yeah, absolutely. And just have answers for your mother-in-law when she asks you many questions. Also
Exactly.
good.
Exactly. Well, we talk about where we are in our partnership, which is great, but both of us, of course, are about serving and getting customers to be able to use this tooling to do amazing things. But where do you perceive that the world is from where are businesses in this journey?
Yeah, I think as we talked about, we have many customers who've been on this AI journey for a long time, and really have worked over the last number of years to get their data in order and have leveraged many different AI tools and AI models. And so where I think we're at is that we're early in the journey when it comes to generative AI,
Yeah.
meaning that we've got many of the foundational elements that I just talked about, but and many great ideas. And where we see customers is that they're trying to take those ideas and turn them into business cases and frankly transformational pathways, right? Where that will really truly make an impact on businesses. So it's an exciting time because there's just so many ideas, and we're really looking to turn those ideas and transform into reality.
That's really interesting. Yeah, it's, our CTO, Srini Kalshak, is often will say, and just did in an all hands meeting for the whole company earlier today, that, AI is one of those things. It's not a nice to have. It's not, oh, let's wait and see. It is that technology. It is that use case for infrastructure that is transforming absolutely everything. And it's exciting to see how different companies are, considering how they do that. Fascinating.
Yeah. I think,
Go
I
ahead.
think about it, kind of like in the late, in the late 90s and early 2000s when we were all considering what does this ERP thing mean? It's all tied together, and I guess that dates me, Jeff, and maybe it dates you too because you laugh. But I think I think it really is. It is and will be that transformational.
I was having a conversation last night at this event at the dinner we had with some folks, and they were like, "Well, Jeff, how did you get into all this stuff?" And it goes back to my father was a lifer with IBM, as we call it, and so in the mid '80s, early '80s, I mean, he was through the old employee purchase program. I mean, we had the very first IBM PC that showed up at the house. And that was a unique thing in that space. And then people started to say things like, we think every house might have one of these eventually, and what that might do to transform things. And it's the closest analogy I can come up with, but things are happening just a little bit faster than they did back then.
Yeah, they are because you know why? We have AI.
That's right. That's right. God bless it, AI. All right. So, by the way, I just have to pause, and call out Kenya is here. I love that Kenya is here. Welcome. We got San Antonio friends. I'm not there, but I'll be back this weekend. Santa Barbara. Hey, Mike. Good to see you, and everyone else who's popping in. Somebody needs a job in finance. Go to rackspace.jobs. Maybe there's something out there for you. All right. Well, let's pivot for a second, Rebecca. So, another topic that came up in conversation last night with the folks that I was there with is the different challenges that different folks have in their careers and opportunities. But you are somebody who, as a woman, been involved in tech for a good long time. What are you seeing as far as the difference of maybe when you started your career to now as somebody who leads a pretty sizable business unit there inside of Google?
Sure. Yeah, I think 25 years ago, we didn't see as many women in leadership. And so in executive leadership positions, to be really clear. So, I think like you've got Safra Katz, for example, leading Oracle. You've got Julie Sweet at Accenture. You've got Jen Fisher at Splunk. I mean, those are obviously very, very large and strategically important companies with women at the helm. We didn't see that 25 years ago. And so I think, that has really, I think that's great. I think, I'd be remiss to also, not mention the fact that Google's very strong in terms of, having women leaders. And I know when I joined 3 years ago, especially Kirsten Kliphaus, and, having Kirsten and then Janet Kennedy at the helm was tremendously different and refreshing to see that the top two folks that within Google Cloud in North America were women. So yeah.
I love it. Well, and knowing a little bit about you, I know you've started a pretty interesting network just to help encourage this along as well. So why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, I founded the Executive Women's Network here at Google Cloud, and we represent the top 220 executive women within Google Cloud globally. And I founded this group 2 years ago, really based on the fact that as we move along in our careers, we need different things and different different support. So, I've been really lucky throughout my career to have received, things, mentorship and help with my brand and my executive presence. And by the way, all those things I still need help on today. I mean, you don't just
it doesn't stop.
nail it. Yeah, you don't just nail it, and forget about it.
It's not a check mark.
Yeah, I mean, check, brand, done. No, I mean, obviously it's an evolving story, as humans that we create within our careers. But at the same time, as we move along in our careers, there's really a need for, an additional interest on things like, hey, how do I get on a board? Right. And once I join a nonprofit, how am I on a public board? And so what does that journey look like? So that's one of the things that we've been able to bring to these women. Other things like just our talent management. Obviously, within any organization, the pyramid gets smaller at the top. And so,
Yeah.
how do you navigate that? And where are what are the career paths? And so, those are just a couple of the topics. We
Mm.
meet quarterly, and we bring subject matter experts to the table and have discussions on topics like these.
That's fantastic. I love how the focus that you have in helping bring these ladies together to help further not just their careers, but to be better humans and better at what they do, which only benefits the organizations that they're directly involved in with Google or the different boards and places where they get to serve.
Right, right, absolutely, and of course, we have a Women at Google ERG
Yeah.
within Google Cloud or within Google, and we're very closely aligned. So the other thing that we do that I'm very proud of is that we integrate some of the folks who are earlier in their careers to come sit in, listen, help, support, so that they're also understanding the different dynamics within with different women at different points in their careers, and can pass that along as well. So we create learning opportunities and pass those along.
Fantastic. So it's been around for a couple of years now. Has it run exactly as it's expected? Any surprises along the way?
Well, hey, if we all know, if you don't change, you die, right?
That's
So
right.
what is the same is that we meet quarterly for an hour, and that's about that is standard.
Yeah.
But what's great about it, or what I'm really excited about, you mentioned Next earlier
Yeah.
in our conversation. Given the fact that we started this during the pandemic, we have never, as a global organization, had an opportunity to get together face to face. And so I'm hosting a breakfast for our Executive Women's Network at Next. And I'm tremendously excited about that opportunity to be able to meet these women face to face. So that's something that we're doing. That's different, and I really hope that spawns new ideas for what we could do to make this even more impactful.
I love it. That's fantastic, and I love the phrase. Of course, if you don't change, you die. Keep getting better. All right, I have a question for you as we get close to the end of our time. And welcome, Chris. Great to see you. Great, Jeffrey. Okay, here's my question. And whenever we have folks on, whenever we have women on, and we get into a women in tech conversation, I get lots of communication back, and folks are always so encouraged to have heard that conversation. And very oftentimes they'll also say, hey, I'm going to take this home and I'm going to show it to or take it home. I'm going to go down the hall when my kids come back from school. I'm going to show it to my teenage girls so that they can be encouraged and learn a little bit more. So the question I have for you is as you're now going to be giving some advice to younger folks, but I want you to answer it from the perspective if you could talk to 13 or 12-year-old Rebecca and give her some advice, what would that be?
I think, especially at 12 and 13, you don't have the confidence to know that you deserve to be at the table. You have a voice.
Heck yeah.
You got this, girl. And so, I think that's at its most simple form. That's it. But I would also say that as I guide people, but men and women who are in college on their careers, and they're trying to figure out, what do I do next? I'm a big fan of the consulting world. So I'm going to kind of bring it back to where we started here, Jeff, and talk about the fact that to get that foundation, to understand how businesses work end to end, and to understand what good looks like, is a tremendous foundation for your career. And so that you can take your career by the horns, if you will, and decide where you want to go, and don't let it guide you, but you guide it.
Ooh, I love that. And it goes in line with one of the last times I asked this question, and the answer was, don't be afraid to pivot. It's not that you maybe have hit a wall, but you may see something else that's interesting that you want to move over and into, and there is nothing wrong with that, because it's your career.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also a big fan of, if you don't fail, you're not trying hard enough.
Well, that's well, now we somehow ended up in a therapy session. Thank you for that.
All right. Well, it's more fun to win, that's for sure. And we're all winners, but also, if you don't fail, you're not trying hard enough. So
that's so good.
Just recover quickly and pivot.
Fantastic. What a great note to go out on. If you're not failing every now and again, you're not trying hard enough. We
That's
all want
right.
to win. So Rebecca, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and visit with us. Obviously, the whole world has enjoyed our conversation and what you've had to share. So thank you so much for taking the time. And you're going to be at the Google Next. So I guess people can maybe reach out to you on the LinkedIn and see if you're around.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. So thanks again for having me here today, Jeff.
Absolutely. Everyone, I hope you have a great rest of your day. We're back next week. We won't be at Google Next quite yet, but we're going to be at VMware. So if you, anybody going out to VMware, VMworld will be there. Actually talk to some great Google people who are, we're doing some really interesting partnership stuff with that we'll talk about then. So we'll see you next week, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And with that, Daniel, let's go out on that fancy new graphic.